Welcome to today's presentation of the 2014 Emerald City Classic, brought to you by Elemental Technologies, perfecting the media experience, and Patagonia, quality gear for athletes demanding high performance. I'm Jackson Kelsey here with Kyle Weisbrod. We're going to talk you through the women's final. Today we have the number 1 seed Seattle Riot going through Fury earlier today and Scandal to get here. And then the number 2 seed Boston Brute Squad taking on Traffic.
And then Nemesis in the
semifinals. Go over a couple keys to the game here for each team. For Riot, it's really stopping Brute Squad's flow. Brute Squad is very good at those continue passes, so they're going to try to get in the way of those continuations. And on the offensive side for Riot, using lateral space, getting it from sideline to sideline, creating holes, not allowing Brute Squad to keep the space. And then Kyle, for Brute Squad?
Yeah, Brute Squad's going to be looking to control the tempo of this game. Riot's going to want to fast play as much as possible. If Brute Squad can keep the tempo at the pace that they want to keep it at, they will be successful. And then executing offensively. Their offense is very good. They've got Leela Tunnell here, who was not at the U.S. Open when they lost in the finals to this Riot squad. And now Leela's here, and Tunnell is going to control their offense. So that's going to be big for them. This is, I think, Jackson, the matchup that we expected to see. And for me, it's the matchup I wanted to see. These two teams all season long have been kind of a notch above everybody else. Riot had a shaky yesterday, but have stepped up today, going through, as you said, both Fury and then Scandal, the other two big contenders in the women's division this season.
Start things off, Riot on offense, Hannah Kwai in the middle. Swung over to Shannon O'Malley. She's marked by Emily Bacher. There's Ambler in the middle to Fontanet. Right, gaining yards on offense. Dump back to Ambler. Ambler looks off Kwai. Fakes the around. Now O'Malley around. Over to Weatherford. Weatherford looking downfield. Looks off Cardenas. And here's O'Malley in the middle. O'Malley puts it out to Ambler. Just a little too far for Gwen Ambler.
That's an aggressive throw there from O'Malley, and it was mostly looking pretty conservative for Riot. They were hitting the unders. Earlier in the possession, Ambler had a look at Hannah Kwai open deep, elected to hold it back, and now Brute Squad with an opportunity for a break on the very first point.
Stoppage of play here, disc with Christy Kim. It's Claudia Tajima as her primary dump. Claudia Tajima going to be doing a lot of the handling here for Brute Squad. We saw her in the first game yesterday really just throw at will against Showdown. Just coming in with Kim, marked by Fontanet. Dump to Tajima. Across to Bacher. Bacher marked by O'Malley. Now Hoffman under. The very fast Hoffman. And disc goes up to Sarah Jacoby. There's Hannah Kwai there for the D. Getting it back for Riot. Weatherford to pick up. Should be marked by Shira Klein. Weatherford pumps. Now looks backfield to Shannon O'Malley. Kingery clearing space, Ambler under. Ambler with a one-handed snag. Fontanet going out to Kwai. Now Fontanet going out. And now Fontanet under. Lots of space there in the middle of the field as the Cutters catch up. And Fontanet going deep to Hannah Kwai. Hannah Kwai bringing it in, and Seattle Riot get the first point of this championship final.
So both teams on this first point trading aggressive turnovers on deep shots. And then Fontanet taking another nice deep shot. This one to Hannah Kwai. Really nicely out to space for Kwai. Kwai with steps on Hoffman here. Here's the turnover deep to Jacoby. Kwai dropping off her guard and getting up to get the block there on Jacoby. And here on the other side, Fontanet doing a little spin move, losing contact with Kwai, and then regaining it and putting it deep to her. Nice shot upwind. So Riot holds on their very first offensive possession after a couple turns, and they're up 1-0.
Yeah, Brute's defense there able to generate one turnover, just can't quite capitalize. Tough play there from Jacoby as Kawhi coming in, able to affect the throw.
You know, Jackson, games all day today had a very different feel than our games yesterday. Yesterday it felt like teams, everyone knowing they were going to make it to elimination play, feeling each other out, willing to try new things. Today the pace has picked up, the tempo has picked up, the energy has picked up from both of the squads, all the squads that we've seen out in the fields. And just at the field side, it feels like it matters out here. And this
Tunnel with it in the middle.
And this certainly matters. This is likely for the #1 seed going into nationals, as well as the top team in the regular season for USAU, likely, and the winner getting $2,000.
Seville to Bitterman. Back to Seville. Seville, former Callahan winner. Now swung around to Schwamm. Whit Garcia nearly D'd. Now with Becky Malinowski. Under to Bitterman. Bitterman to Seville. Moving the disc quickly here is Brute Squad. Looking dump to Tunnel. Tunnel loving that inside flick. Saw her rifle a few of those earlier in games. Now around to Malinowski. And finds Bitterman. Bitterman scoring a lot of goals yesterday for Brute Squad. Very quick, not the tallest, but she makes up for it with her speed.
Yeah, Bitterman a little spark plug for this Brute Squad O-line, and she just shows that explosiveness. She gets out of the blocks very quickly here against Katie Crayley. She goes from 0 to fast very quickly.
0 to fast. I like that. It's a good scale. So Riot defense unable to create a turnover. They don't gather the disc on that one. Brute Squad showing patient offense, executing their plan.
Yeah, a lot of nice quick movement from their handlers and their downfield cutters. They hit the first open receiver, and you know, teams that can do that, can change the angle of attack quickly, are going to create openings and opportunities. I really like this Brute Squad offense with Paula Seville and Leila Tunnel in the backfield. Both of them tall and very skilled handlers, and they create a lot of difficulty for marks because, you know, a lot of handler defenders don't have the height to match up and mark those players. Back-to-back Callahan Award winners as well.
So here, Sheena Titcomb to pull, and this actually being the first game that we've broadcasted where we now have two Titcombs.
Two Titcombs
playing in the same game. We have a streak of a Titcomb playing in at least every game, and now we have two. One for Riot being Rory Titcomb, and for Brute Squad, her sister, younger sister, Sheena Titcomb. And the disc goes deep right away. There's Whit Garcia playing deep defender. Weatherford airing it out, unable to bring it down. Now here's Titcomb. Fakes the big huck. Across now with Hoffman. Hoffman to Whit Garcia. Garcia fakes. Now to Murphy. Murphy up the line to Bacher. Bacher puts it up to Whit Garcia. Cardenas there, and Whit Garcia goes up and gets it over two Riot defenders. That's Fontanet and Cardenas. Whit Garcia played excellent for Brute Squad in their game against Showdown, our first game of the day yesterday, coming down with a lot of deep receptions.
Well, Fontanet here with a kind of an ill-advised huck deep, which Whit Garcia is able to pull down. And Whit Garcia on the other end with two defenders, Fontanet and Khalees Cardenas, both around her, but Whit Garcia has inches on them and able to go up strong, two-handed, and pull that one down for the first break of the game. And Boston Brute Squad is up 2-1. You know, you're mentioning the Titcombs. I believe we were going to go for a 8-game streak with Titcombs as Machine qualified for the finals. And X10 Titcomb on Machine will be in the finals of the men's division, which will be at 5 p.m. Pacific.
I'll be interested to see if we can keep that streak going on our next production. Just Titcom's everywhere.
You know, Titcom's, of course, they are the founders of 5 Ultimate, the 5 siblings, 4 of them here playing. And 5 Ultimate, one of our sponsors.
Titcom set to pull here for Brute Squad. Low pull going into the wind. Weatherford picks up for Riot. Max it up to herself.
That was a stylish little pickup of the disc. I don't think it was intentional.
Back with Weatherford. Titcom as her dump. Brute Squad in a zone. Weatherford falls down, gets it to Kingery. Kingery looks off Ambler. Bradshaw wide open on the sidelines. Kingery not looking towards her. Now goes to her. Brute Squad staying in their zone. Give and go here between Bradshaw and Ambler. Ambler looking to Weatherford. Seattle using that lateral space, swinging it across the field, now getting gainers from Kawhi. Weatherford fakes up line, then comes back. Kawhi dumps to her. Weatherford holsters the swing to Titcom, now goes inside to Kingery. Nora Carr in the lane. Swung across to Kawhi. Kawhi looking downfield. Titcom cuts inside. Now Kawhi throws around. Titcom bobbles but able to hang on. There goes Bradshaw to the cone. And Gwen Ambler cutting up line. Titcom looking, trying to force it in and puts it up to Nora Carr. Her defender there, Christy Kim with her back turned. Nora standing there with her hand up saying, I'm open, just throw it. Stall count gets high and Titcom able to execute.
That was an assertive call there from Nora Carr. I mean, great defense here. You can see Nora Carr in the back of the stack with her hand up, pointing to it. She's being face guarded, but still that disc has a lot of time to hang. And Rory Titcom puts that just perfectly right over the head of the defender.
Got to be frustrating there if you're Christy Kim. You know you're playing good defense, focused on the person you're guarding. Just can't come down with it. Now it's Riot's turn to see if they can get a break back. It's knotted at 2s.
So Brute Squad on that last point came down with a junky look. It was the look that yesterday we were calling 6-1. I actually talked to the coaches after the game, and they said they don't have a 6-1 in their tool belt. It was probably a man defense with poaching in the back. But when I saw that, it didn't look like a man defense with a lot of switching and poaching. It looked like people were guarding spaces sometimes and people were guarding people other times. So it was, you know, they've got something in there that's funky, and maybe they're just not willing to kind of show their cards yet. But that's definitely a defense team should take a look at if they're trying to figure out the Brute Squad defensive sets.
Pull goes up from Crayley. Tennell picks up. Becky Malinowski wide open. Can she get to it? Easy one-throw goal. Bit of a confusion there. Don't really know who was guarding her.
And that's about the easiest goal you're going to see in this game here. Lila Tennell, easy backhand, just picks it up. Sees Malinowski with the blown coverage and wide open deep. Just lays out the backhand. Great touch on it. Malinowski easily able to stride onto it and clap catch it for the goal.
It almost looked at first that she was going to overthrow him or overthrow her, but Malinowski very fast, able to track that one down.
I don't think Leela overthrows anybody. I think Leela just throws it where she needs to.
Just drops dimes.
All the time.
So Brute Squad, probably the easiest point we're going to see.
That's a big missed opportunity for Riot. You know, you'd only get so many D opportunities in the game, and you can't have one go like that. Every one of these points matters for them, and that's, you know, if you end up with a double game point game, that's the point where you look back and say, you know, that's where we lost our game.
Now in the center with Weatherford. Still in that zone set for Brute Squad. Ambler looking, marked by Bacher. Now dumped to Weatherford. Weatherford finds Kwai. A near D by Titcomb. McKibben cutting in the lane. Here's Hoffman poaching in the lane, keeping her spot. Now Weatherford throws inside and low, and a little too low there for McKibben. Goes horizontal but can't bring it in. Now Bacher to Hoffman. Hoffman looking. Bacher goes up line. Titcomb comes back for the dump. They find her. Titcomb looking around, doesn't find anyone. Now goes dump with Shira Klain. Shira Klain looking dump, throws inside to Bacher, then to Hoffman, and Brute Squad increasing their lead to 2. That's their second break of the game. That's a big one going into the wind. Now Riot forced to play offense into the wind.
That Brute Squad defensive look is giving Riot a lot of trouble. You know, speaking further with the coaches, they said one thing they do have in their back pocket is a clam defense, and I think that is what we are seeing here. So the clam defense has players manned up on the handlers. So 0, 1, and 2 come down and man the handlers, and then you essentially have a diamond in the back with a deep lane poacher, 2 players out, one on the strong side or the open side, one on the weak side, and then 1 player underneath. And it's a poachy and very switchy defense in the backfield, and then hard man defense against the handlers. And so as opposed to a 6 and 1, which is a little looser and a little less structured, there's some specific positions. And they said at the beginning of the season, one of their assistant coaches, Mike Lawler, was a little hesitant to run a clam defense at all. Mike Zillis, the head coach, was insistent. He wants to have this in their back pocket. And Lawler was concerned because he said, what I'm concerned about is it's very hard to get on the same page with the clam, and early in the season we're not going to have a lot of success. And he's found that a lot of teams give up on trying to use the clam because they don't have success early. It looks like Brute Squad has worked through those issues, and they're running a very effective clam defense against Riot right now.
It's definitely effective if it's working against a team that just won Worlds in Italy. So now Riot with it, still down in that clam. Titcomb looking to see if she can get through. Now Boyden, marked by Bacher. Tajima on Titcomb with it now. Titcomb fakes the high release. Now Titcomb looking at Ambler. Inside throw to Boyden. McKibben going wide. Now Cardenas with it. Fontanet. Fontanet back to Cardenas. Cardenas goes inside to Boyden. Boyden playing excellent for Riot all weekend long. Cardenas back to Boyden and swung around to Ambler. Ambler marked by Klain. And Ambler goes inside. And it just comes a little too far inside. Cardenas unable to get her footing. She slips as she goes back for it. Now Brute Squad with an opportunity to get their third break of the game and increase their lead to 3. Tajima brings it up to the line. She'll be marked by Rory Titcomb. That's Howlweaver cutting in for Brute Squad. It's a nice gainer. Back to Tajima. Bacher across. Tajima finds her. Bacher marked by Boyden. That's Alana Schwam with it. Now up the field with Jacoby. Jacoby to Murphy. Murphy to Howlweaver. Getting close to the end zone, and Shira Klain looks like she might have been in just outside. And up the line to Howlweaver. Brute Squad taking it to Riot right now. Riot just seems like they're trailing. Maybe they're getting a little tired here. It's their 8th game of the tournament.
Well, I mean, we've been impressed.
Excuse me, their 6th game of the tournament.
We've been impressed with Brute Squad all weekend, and I expected what Brute Squad had been doing to other teams. Riot would be able to they're a deeper team. They're a very skilled team. They're very athletic. I expected Riot to be able to play a tighter game here against Brute Squad, but Brute Squad is just putting the pressure on. They're playing different defensive looks. They're challenging Riot to think a lot, putting pressure on them, and then offensively they are just executing. They're consistent. They're moving the disc quickly. They're hitting open receivers. It looks like a well-oiled machine for Brute Squad.
And as the players take the first time out of the game, we will too. Please join us for more first half action from the 2014 Women's Final of ECC. Welcome back. Brute Squad taking it to Riot, opening up a 3-point lead, 3 breaks early on, trying to set the tone for this 2014 finals of the Emerald City Championships, or Emerald City Classic, excuse me. Gina Titcomb set to pull. Riot's been in this position before. Earlier in the day, as you saw on the Next Gen Network, they were taking on Scandal and were down 10-7 in the second half and able to come back late and take the game 13-12. A huge play from Hannah Kwai, skying a pack of people to bring it down. The Brute Squad coming down in their zone that's been so effective for them early on. Now Ambler with it. A blade across to Titcomb. Titcomb holding.
I think this is actually a different defensive look. This one looks a little more like that zone defense that Riot had been running in their semifinal game. It's a cup when the disc is on the sideline, and a straight-up mark with 2 poachers in the lane when the disc is in the middle of the field.
Ambler finding Fontanet. That's the second time today that we've seen Ambler go to Fontanet on one of those cross-field blades, and it's always been effective when going against zone. Now Cardenas with it on the side. Titcomb in the middle. McKibben cutting in the lane. Weatherford there. Tight defense by Negus. And Titcomb forced to take a shot to the end zone. And that's Hoffman with the D. Hoffman always seems to be involved when it comes to defense for this Brute Squad team.
But really, Vicky Negus made that happen with that great defense on Alyssa Weatherford. Alyssa Weatherford not able to get open on her. Titcomb didn't feel comfortable with the space given, so she just put it out and was hoping that they could come down with a prayer.
Hoffman putting it deep to Courtney Kiesau, former Callahan Award winner, unable to track that one down. Riot fortunate to get this one back. Weatherford will pick up. Brute Squad going to set their zone with Bacher on the mark. Looks very poachy with 2 off handler guards in the middle. Titcomb to Cardenas. Cardenas back to Titcomb to Weatherford. In the middle with Cardenas. Cardenas finds Kwai. McKibben going deep. Kwai looks her off. Lefty to Cardenas, back to Kwai. Kwai fakes the inside. Now goes wide to Weatherford. Weatherford marked by Bacher. Weatherford throw and go with Titcomb. Titcomb looks her off. Now Ambler fakes up line. Now gets the space up line. Creates the contact. Looks like we are going to have a call here. No contest there from Negus. Tapped in. Ambler just 10 yards outside the end zone and inside to Hannah Kwai. Toes the line. Second goal here early on for Hannah Kwai. Inside throw from Gwen Ambler. A tall player able to create that space with her pivots. She can just stand out on her forehand side and doesn't really even need to step into that throw. Can just flick it inside, just gets low and finds Kwai.
And big point for Riot to get on the board again after a couple breaks. But Brute Squad really putting a lot of pressure on. I mean, that was not an easy point at all for Riot here. They had to really fight for that one. Good defensive pressure across the board. A couple of high stall count turnovers for Riot on that point before Kawhi was able to find the end zone.
Real missed opportunity there for Brute Squad. Had a chance to go up 6-2, which is a lot more favorable when playing a squad like Riot. Going up 6-2. The lead is just much more, but now they're up 5-3. Still have a good lead. 3 breaks early on. They're going to come down on offense, see if Riot can challenge them on defense.
You know, despite not getting that break and having possession not getting, I think Brute Squad has to feel good about that point. I mean, they put a lot of pressure on the Riot O-line. They had a look, and you know, Riot had to work for it. And if they keep making Riot work, they're going to generate more turns and they're going to convert some of those.
Vicky Chang picks up, gives it to Tennell. Tennell marked by Boyden. Bitterman streaking deep. Tanel rifles it. Cross field, Christie freed. Now Tanel in the middle to Chang. Chang looks downfield and throws to Malinowski. Malinowski with the drop. Very uncharacteristic turn from Becky Malinowski, a sure-handed receiver. Now Boyden picks up, marked by Tanel. Cross the field to Johnson. Johnson finds Zonizer in the middle. Zonizer over to Crayley. Zonizer up the line. Crayley dumps back to Burstein. Burstein to Boyden. Boyden looks off the around. Now goes with the fakes the around. We do have a foul called. Some discussion about what the call actually is. Boyden explaining her case. Coming in on 0, no contest there from Tanel. Disc tapped in. Mercer at the front of the stack. Cuts and gets open. Katie Crayley, nearly a goal. And Ellie Burstein wide open in the end zone, but she doesn't see her. Now dumps to Boyden. Oh, and a tough turnover there by Riot.
Oh, Malinowski's off to the races. And Jelly Boyden fouls Leela Tanel.
For her team, it's a very smart foul. She cuts off the deep throw. Malinowski wide open, going deep. You know Tanel's going to drop a dime in there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the play like that does not get a technical misconduct foul, or TMF, sorry, team misconduct foul, for the blatantly stopping a wide open throw.
Malinowski still allowed the yards. Boyden going to have to play big here on this mark. Tanel holsters, looks for Chang, looks off Chang, up the line to Seville.
Unfried wide open deep here.
Unfried there, getting on her horse. Goes down on her knees and picks it up. Now dumps to Spitz. Spitz to Tanel. Tanel looking around, then throws the backhand to Unfried. Unfried gets open on the live side. Brute Squad pouring it on here. Tough point there for Riot. They had such a great opportunity right on the goal line to get one of those breaks back. Ellie Burstein wide open in the middle.
And that's a tough call. You know, there's a lot of discussion about when you're on the red zone there, how aggressive should you be? Do you take those shots? And sometimes it's better to take the aggressive shot that's a little lower percentage than to have to take 2 higher percentage shots to get in there, because your odds are going to work out that way. And then Brute Squad on the other side, just taking no qualms about attacking the other way. Tanel with the look, doesn't have it, gets it to Paula Seville. Seville takes that deep shot out to Unfried, and then they work it in. Unfried with the score. You know, having Seville and Tanel in the backfield is really effective. The two of them have very similar playing styles, and so there's a routine or a system that they can use in terms of their resets, and everyone, it's very predictable downfield. You can do almost the same things for both Seville as for Tanel. Tanel has a stronger forehand, both of them with very strong backhands, and both of them willing to put it deep.
Leela Tanel has an insane forehand. She just throws it inside at will. Sheena Titcomb set to pull for Brute Squad. Titcomb really coils up and rips that one down. Weatherford almost bobbles the pull but gathers it. Now to Ambler. Brute Squad staying in a man set. Different look this time. Now Weatherford inside, and Jacoby reaches in and pokes that D. Weatherford looking for Cardenas. And Tajima not wasting any time. Boosts it down the field to Jacoby. Bookends for Sarah Jacoby. Break right away. Claudia Tajima's got throws.
And we've been talking about how devastating fast breaks are. And fast breaks, they add one mistake to another mistake for your opponent. So they made a mistake by turning it over, and then you punish them immediately by breaking deep, and that's the second mistake. They put their heads down, and then it feels like it's adding up and rolling over. And that really is a dagger for Riot. That was just quick surgical strike from Tajima, recognizing that Jacoby had taken off. Great D from Jacoby, just doing it on both sides here for Brute Squad. And Brute Squad getting a lot of contributions from all over their bench right now.
For you viewers that are watching at home and you see that Jacoby just streaks deep right away, if you get to that point to where you drop it or you make a mistake and you turn it over, the last thing that you want to do is sit there and sulk about it, because then it just allows the transition to happen. It allows that your energy is down, your mood is down, and it allows the other team to take advantage of that. So you really, really have to, when you make a mistake, you have to be resilient and you have to come back. Allow yourself in your head maybe to think, dang, I messed up, but really you can't allow yourself to sit there and look down and be mad at your hands. You really have to get back on defense and get it back for your team. So pull goes down with Titcomb. Titcomb, ooh, Gwen Ambler. Nice grab there. Little low throw from Titcomb. No problem for Ambler. And O'Malley throws it a little low. Great D from Christy Kim on Kate Kingery.
Kim doing a great job of creating pressure. And, man, Brute Squad already cutting. That was quick movement into their offense. Again, they are picking up the pace here.
Tajima over to Schwam. Back to Tajima, now with Bacher. Bacher looking to the end zone. Holsters. Tajima's her dump. Good switch there by Jillian Goudreau. Working on it. Now Hoffman on the sidelines, marked by Kwai.
Ooh, wind really picking up here.
Hoffman cross-field swing to Bacher. A little bit of confusion as to who's guarding Bacher for Riot. Ooh, and a costly turn there from Christy Kim. That was a real big point for Brute Squad. They could have taken half, 8-3 on Riot. Now an opportunity for Riot to cut Boston's lead down to 3. Titcomb with it. Weatherford up line, now back. Guarded by Tajima. Weatherford looking downfield now at the dump. Hal Weaver poaching off in the lane, now reels in. Weatherford cutting around back there, moves it up to Kingery. Right, getting some gainers here. A dump to Titcomb. Titcomb looking around. Hal Weaver on the mark. Kate Kingery goes horizontal for that one. Around to O'Malley. And Shannon O'Malley, the 2010 Callahan Award winner, redeems herself after throwing a low one intended for Kingery that resulted in a D. Gets on her horse, leans out, and makes a great catch. Kate Kingery, just fantastic.
And I love this. Right after the layout, she just steps around the mark, throws it, puts it out to space to O'Malley. Just veteran play. I mean, she calms down immediately after a great layout catch here and able to put the break mark and put it in for the goal. And this is a big one for Riot. I mean, going down into half 8-3 is big. Every point now is big for Riot with the lead that they've spotted Brute Squad.
And that play from Kingery really comes from years of experience, making a big athletic thing where you're just putting your body on the line and you catch it and get up, and your mind is calm enough that you've been there before, you know where you need to throw it on the field, and you just take advantage and go for the goal.
You know, back to Brute Squad, the pressure that they're putting on the Riot handlers has been impressive. The marks are good, and the reset defense has been very good. They've been putting them in very difficult situations, especially the defense on Alyssa Weatherford. A couple times Rory Titcomb's had to bail out Riot with these little IO throws that are very difficult. Looks like we've got an offsides here on this pull for Riot. But Brute Squad is amping up the pressure there, and when you amp up the pressure on resets, it puts pressure everywhere else in the field, because if you know as a thrower that you don't have a dependable 100% easy out option, you're going to take lower percentage shots downfield, and you're going to get opportunities for the defense to get blocks. with the pull.
Chang takes it, finds Tanel. Back to Chang. Now with Malinowski. Malinowski unmarked. Davis now on her. Malinowski looks dumped at Tanel. Tanel marked by Stern. Tanel looking for that flick. Finds Kisau. Kisau looks off. Tanel up the line. Tanel has Malinowski. Holsters. Cutting across is Chang. Oh, and just a miscue there from Seville. It was right in front of her. She tried to stab it with one hand. I think that's one of those where you say two hands, two hands. She didn't really have anyone on her. Maybe a pancake would have resulted in a catch. Now here's Boyden with it to McKibben. McKibben to Zonizer. Zonizer inside to Crayley. Crayley fakes the deep. Now Boyden. Good movement here from Seattle. Nice low catch by McDowell. Looking dump, looking at Stern. And disc goes up. Davis is there. But Vicky Chang D's it.
Looks like there's going to be a call there. Looks like Sarah Davis may be calling a strip. She thinks she may have had the disc. Looks like Chang's going to contest. Here's another look at it. There's a high stall count throw here.
It's pretty close. I don't know if Davis really had control of it. She definitely got to it first, but I don't know if she had control of it.
Yeah, that's a tough call to make there for Davis. She certainly didn't have sustained control. But it looks like this one they're going to just agree to send it back. Oh, no, they're still discussing with the observer. You know, you mentioned this. The offense there, once Riot got the disc, looked really good. It was the most assertive offense I think we've seen in this game. But then once McDowell got it, things slowed down a bunch. Stern on the reset actually started initiating a cut earlier than McDowell was looking, and I think ended up out of position.
So the observer rules no strip. It is a turnover. Disc now with Brute Squad. Davis on the mark. Chang with it, finds Tanel. Kisau with it. Across to Malinowski, marked by Zonizer. McDowell now on the mark. Around to Witty Garcia, and she can't bring it in.
Riot playing their a little junk defense of their own. It traps on the sideline, and Brute Squad not afraid to run it down the sideline, but they've had 2 turnovers on difficult throws down the sideline. The first one to Seville, where Seville should have come up with it but dropped it, and then that one to Witty Garcia. It was a very tough catch trying to toe the line and reach full extension out.
Zonizer to McDowell. McDowell looks downfield. Foul called here. McDowell looks a little frazzled here with the disc. Can't quite get those resets off. Now McDowell finds Crayley. McKibben now. McKibben to Stern. Stern marked by Tanel. Stern across to McDowell. McDowell looks at the reset. Now with Boyden. Boyden looking downfield, not much action. So she goes to the dump.
Good
dump
defense.
to McDowell.
Good defense from Tanel on sheer Stern there.
Zonizer cutting under. Defended by Kisau, now dumped back with McDowell. Boyden there, but Boyden picks that one out of the air. Boyden has been playing awesome for Riot all weekend. And then throws a beautiful inside-out flick to Zonizer. Zonizer looking in the end zone. Boyden cuts up line. Now dumped back to to Stern. Just a little too far for Davis. Maybe a little miscommunication there. Tanel picks up, marked by Stern. Kisau in the middle.
Looks like there's some confusion on the right defense. They're trying to figure out if they're in their defense or in a man defense. But Bitterman elects to call a timeout and not take advantage of the Riot defensive confusion.
And as the players take a timeout, We're going to take a quick break here to get you the conclusion of the first half of the women's final. Welcome back to the women's finals of ECC. Riot taking on Brute Squad. Brute Squad really pressuring Riot. Just seems like everything that Angelica Boyden is doing, every time we say her name, she's doing something awesome.
Yeah,
laying out, throwing inside out.
You know, so Riot won the World Championships this summer in Italy, but in their pre-quarterfinal game against Mud from Japan, they were at 16-16 double game point in pulling. And Jelly Boyden had a huge layout block, which allowed Riot to win that game. That was what turned the game around, or it closed the game for Riot. And ever since then, every single time I see Boyden on the field, she's making plays.
Now back to the action. Riot coming out in a zone, flustering the marks. Brute Squad able to go through. Tannell with it. Tannell looks over the top. Tannell throws a bender to Malinowski for a goal. Wow.
That was a pretty throw. Just threw that backhand up and just let it ride the wind. That was a throw that was kind of like into the wind, and then the wind pushed it across over to Malinowski for the goal. You know, they faced it. So Riot comes out of the timeout in a four-person trap cup, forcing backhand side. And Lila Tannell just says, "Thank you very much. I will take that."
So we've reached the halfway mark here of the women's finals. Stay tuned for the second half here between Seattle Riot and Boston Brute Squad. Welcome back to Burlington, Washington. Bringing you the women's finals. Brute Squad up on Riot 8-4. Doing it in a happy mood, dancing on the sidelines. Dancing to the new Taylor Swift. If you haven't heard it, I would recommend it. Really, the thing for Brute Squad has been Lila Tannell. She has been awesome. Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about what she's doing?
Yeah, Lila Tannell, I mean, is just quarterbacking the offense here for Brute Squad. She is a very experienced player. Had played since her high school days at Padilla High School. Played for UNC, Chapel Hill, a little bit of Phoenix. Played for Brute Squad prior to that when she was in college, and then back to Brute Squad now. She also is a farmer. I'm not sure you knew that. She farms.
As a farmer?
Yeah, she was a music teacher, and she's taking some time to be a farmer in Western Massachusetts.
Do you know what she farms? What crops by chance?
I think she farms whatever they grow in Western Massachusetts. Corn.
That's probably a pretty good bet. She probably grows some corn.
I bet
she's got at least one
probably
row
some
of corn.
Kale as well. But I mean, she's farming out here on the field. She farms forehands and backhands.
Farming for goals and dropping dimes. Now dump back with Seville. Back to the action. Riot coming out in a zone set. There's Tannell with it, marked by Stern. Titcomb hanging out deep. Bradshaw on the side. That's unfreed to Tannell. Tannell ripping the backhand, putting it up there. Titcomb's there, Bitterman's there. Titcomb gonna have that one. Couldn't drop a dime on that one.
I believe that is our first Tannell turnover of the game, and that one was a really aggressive throw, especially against a zone defense, to a very small receiver, but Tannell.
Maybe she was just setting herself up for that.
I mean, look,
I feel like turning it over in the end zone and then getting a ridiculous layout D to get it back.
In the process of that turn and then getting it back, she gained about 30 yards on the disc.
That's the next level. That's the next level, players.
Farming for layout blocks. She seeded it with the turnover. And then laid out.
And then harvested that layout D. So we do have a call here. I believe it's a pick in the stack. Tannell with it. Seville as her dump. Tannell with the around throw to Bitterman. And Bitterman, two-handed pancake. Brute Squad stretching their lead out to 9-4. Right, digging themselves in a hole.
Goodness gracious. I think Tannell knew that we were talking about her.
She had to have.
She kind of took over that point from the blade at the very beginning, the Huck turnover, and then that huge layout block. And, man, this is a round backhand. Here's that block again, showing she can get it done on defense as well as offense, and then picking it up and throwing that step around backhand so pretty to Bitterman.
And the D she got was on Kate Kingery, who has been one of the best cutters for Riot throughout the whole tournament. Seems like Kingery and Kwai are really the ones that are getting it done downfield for Riot, and Tanel just comes through, comes up big. Potential Patagonia play of the game right there.
Potential. Gosh, I couldn't see how that couldn't be the Patagonia play of the game. That was a remarkable layout block. And 9-4, Riot is really on their heels here. You know, Riot's had a string of tournament victories, and, you know, really positive talk about them. But, you know, U.S. Open, World Club Championships, this is going to be their first big loss in a long time if they can't pull it together here. So it's going to be interesting to see how they react and respond on their heels down 9-4. What kind of pressure can they generate, and how can they pick it up offensively?
Weatherford with it. Ambler cutting out, now under. Just a little off on the throw from Weatherford. Looks like they had what they wanted. Ambler open under for a 20-yard gainer, but they can't complete it. Now swung across to Bacher. Bacher marked by Weatherford. Flustering mark. Tajima cuts up line now with Hoffman.
Looks like we got pick call here. Cardenas, who was guarding Hoffman, calling a pick as Hoffman cut through the middle of the field.
Disc will go back with Bacher.
You know, interesting about Bacher played with Riot at the World Club Championships. Brute Squad did not finish in the top 4 of the U.S. last year, so did not earn a bid to the World Club Championships. Bacher elected to be a guest player on Riot and won a World Championship with them, and now back with her hometown Brute Squad. Bacher's been a big D-line handler for Brute Squad. She actually played O-line at the U.S. Open.
Fontanet poaches off, stops the dump. However, Bacher able to find Hoffman. Now back to Bacher in the middle of the field, swinging across to Negus. Negus inside to Hoffman. Hoffman marked by Cardenas. Hoffman to Negus. Klein at the dump. Dump to Tajima. Tajima looking for Jacoby, not there. And finds Bacher. Tajima streaking up line. Bacher looks her off. Klein up line. Again looked off. She has no dump. And she has to put it out to space. Hoffman able to go back. Now cuts up line. Quick movement here. Tajima looks her off. Keep looking off that up line cut. Now Klein goes, and she finally gets it up line. 8 yards outside the end zone. And that's Negus pointing to the cone. Second time she's been open on the live sign in the red zone. Fast player, beating her defender there. Klein able to find her, and Brute Squad really opening it up right now. Up 10-4 on Riot.
Yeah, they're really dialed in. We talked about the O-line handlers for Brute Squad, but their D-line handlers are really getting it done as well. Claudia Tajima and Emily Bacher back there, both products of Amherst High School, and fantastic back there, just very, very conservative and taking shots when they need to, very consistent with their throws, and provide a lot of confidence to the cutters downfield who are really getting it done. Sheer Klein also back there handling a lot for Brute Squad out of Hopkins High School.
It was almost frustrating as a viewer that they weren't hitting the uplines, but they were patient enough to get that disc in and then find Negus open on the live side at the front corner.
This is quite a performance here from Brute Squad, coming through this tournament that has all of the top contenders in the women's division and rolling through the competition. Up 10-4 here and just looking like a machine.
You said it in the first game that we covered. Brute Squad looked sharp, looked like they were the team to beat, and they're proving that here. Going up 10-4 on the current world champions in the finals. It definitely says something. They want that #1 seed going into nationals. Boyden with it now in the middle. Brute Squad in a man set. Boyden across the field to Idy. Idy fakes and then finds Mercer. Mercer over to a wide open Burstein. Burstein looks downfield. Across the field to Boyden. Great throw there to Katie Crayley. And that is another fantastic throw by Heidi.
Yeah, Heidi just doing a great job of putting that one out to space. And good offense there from Riot. Great way to respond to the break. Just go out there, confident, moving the disc. Different handling line out there. Boyden, the one anchoring that. Charlie Mercer and Charlie Heidi doing a lot of work as well. And finishing that off. Just a beautiful throw. And there's Boyden there with a great I.O. to Crayley that opens up the space a ton before we get to Heidi.
Just under her defender's mark. It's a good throw to practice if you're at home. Creates a lot of space, can sit just like it did. Allows your player to run onto it. Now Riot going to see if they can get a break here. Trail by 5 against Brute Squad. Brute Squad's O has been fantastic all day long. Their quarterback, Leela Tennell, really running the ship. Paula Seville helping out a lot. Bitterman scoring some goals. Rory Titcomb set to pull.
This Brute Squad roster is intimidating. Interesting note, Camille Groom was another big pickup that Brute Squad reportedly had this season. Turns out that Camille Groom received a Fulbright and will be teaching in Taiwan, so she will not be playing, it looks like, with Brute Squad in the series, which is a big loss, but I think that Boston has the weapons they need for a big run this fall.
I'm sure everyone else besides Brute Squad is pretty excited about that. Fantastic D by Rory Titcomb. Able to jump up and D Paula Seville's backhand. Right, seems energized this point. Mercer in the middle. Zonizer downfield, now cuts under. Zonizer going horizontal, left-handed grab. Pumps across the Titcomb. Beautiful low backhand to Boyden from Titcomb. Boyden looking dumped now with Titcomb. Titcomb marked by Spitz. Dump to Boyden. Seville cutting off the inside. Zonizer cutting under. Zonizer dumps to Boyden. Zonizer clears now.
Travel call by Paula Seville here on Boyden. This is a big opportunity for Riot on defense going upwind. Nice
Boyden.
I.O. from Boyden. Ooh.
Are you really surprised, though? I mean, that just seems to be her bread and butter. She stands out there and releases it so low. And Riot gets a break. I believe it's their first break of the game. It's big for them, big for building their momentum, trying to come back in this game. Only down 10-6. Still plenty of time left in this second half to surmount a comeback.
And that Rory Titcomb defense was huge. That block she got prevented a certain score. Unfree had broken deep, and Paula Seville saw her, but did not see Titcomb in the lane, and Titcomb heads up play, and a great catch there from Zonizer.
She's just fun to watch.
Setting up this great little I.O. to the Rory Titcomb backhand. And Rory also, Titcomb, some great throws on that point. A nice little round backhand, and then the backhand for the score as well.
It's a great fake by Boyden. She doesn't change her pivot, just moves her upper body so she can come back around. And as Paula Seville jumps around to try and stop the backhand, because Boyden has a long pivot, she knows she has to get really far around to stop that around throw. And so as she comes back, Seville way out of position, and there's just no chance that Seville can get to that inside throw. Low release, and a break for Riot.
Great team point for Riot, and one they really needed here. And now going downwind, a little bit of an opportunity, down 10-6. It says 10-5 on the screen, but it's 10-6. Brute Squad with the lead.
Chang to Tennell, now with Hoffman. Hoffman holsters. Witty Garcia under, now with Chang. And Chang puts it out to space. Sarah Davis is there, and Paula Seville goes up, tosses it on the ground. That's a goal, easy work. 4 passes and a goal. No messing around here from Brute Squad.
Well, Seville checking out the other side of the field. Normally she's behind the disc. That time she's going down for the huck. And she gets loose deep. Sarah Davis with the pressure. The two of them know each other pretty well. They played in the semifinals of the 2012 college championships, Seville with Michigan and Sarah Davis with Washington. As Sarah Davis is on her way to a title with University of Washington. But this time Seville gets the better of Sarah Davis. And Boston is up 11-6. This really is an impressive performance here from Brute Squad. They've been making Riot look like a kind of middle-tier nationals team right now. And I think after this weekend, a lot of people are going to say Brute Squad kind of stands alone at the top, maybe favorites going into the fall series. I would caution against that a little bit. You know, Brute Squad is the only real top contender here that was not at the World Championship. So they're not coming off that World Championship. They don't have that hangover from traveling, taking a break in Italy. You know, they're following the normal course of their season, where a lot of these other teams are in a very different point.
Riot with it now. Brute Squad coming down in their zone set. Weatherford to Ambler. Ambler in the backfield. You know, I wonder how much Riot misses Surge. Surge going down with an injury, of course. We've talked about that. But it kind of seems like Riot, they're a little stagnant downfield. They just don't have that one cutter that really exploits everything for their offense. That's Kingery with the hammer over the top to Cardenas.
It's hard not to miss, you know, one of your best cutters and your best defender on the field, right? I mean, she's a player who makes plays for Riot. Sarah Griffith went down yesterday with a sprained ankle in their second game against Nemesis. It doesn't look like too bad an ankle. X-rays were negative. She will hopefully be back later in the series.
We do have a pick called. Coming in on 0. Titcomb on Titcomb. The older sister with the disc, Rory.
This matchup brought to you by 5 Ultimate.
Titcomb around. Good mark there from Chyna on Rory. Now Chyna taking Rory deep. Bacher to Kisau. Titcomb under. Rory, Titcomb is there. Nice D there, getting in the way of Chelsea Murphy.
That was a good switch from Rory Titcomb. Switched with the under as Chyna came under and picked up Chelsea Murphy. Able to get that block.
Excellent throw there from Fontanet. Kwai fakes the out. Titcomb cuts up line. Stops. Little stutter step. That one might get caught in the wind. It does. And Becca Ludford comes down with the D. Now Titcomb with it. Chyna Titcomb. Marked by Kingery. Across the field to Murphy. Kisau under. Murphy fakes backfield. Now does go backfield with Tajima. Weatherford flustering mark. Hands everywhere. Hands are up. Hands are wide. Now Ludford, the 20-yard gainer, and looks to the middle. And Kisau comes down with it. Looks like it sailed over her intended receiver. Now on the side with Murphy. Brute Squad looking to take this one in. Bacher with it in the backfield, marked by Kwai, looking around. Pivots left, pivots right. Now dumps to Tajima. Tajima sees Kisau. Tajima holstering, finds Murphy. Murphy seems to be all over the place as far as the cutting goes. Now Ludford. That is going to be a timeout by Brute Squad. We're going to take a quick timeout here and join us for the conclusion of the second half here at ECC. Welcome back here. Brute Squad looking to put this one in. That last commercial you saw was Bo Kittredge. Our apologies if it was too loud. We might have been having some technical difficulties.
Tweet complaints to NGN Ultimate.
Here with Brute Squad. Ludford with the disc, marked by Fontanet. Looks like we're going to have something with Bacher and Tajima. They both flood backfield. Tajima gets it. Tajima fakes the forehand. Now looks back to the forehand. Dumps to Titcomb. Titcomb to Kisau. Big fake from Kisau. That's Jacoby wide open in the back of the end zone. They holster it. Tajima swung across to Bacher. Rory Titcomb just hanging out in the lane, and Titcomb just a little too far. Jacoby does end up scoring. Titcomb trying to poach off. Always a difficult thing to do in the red zone. Brute Squad able to move the disc around the poach and get the goal. So now Brute Squad opening up this lead, up 12-6 on Riot. It's looking like Brute Squad, they're looking like they might be the 2014 ECC champions.
Nice little lefty backhand from Emily Bacher here to open up the Ludford to Jacoby score. Riot out of that timeout, comes out in a zone defense, tries to mix things up a little bit, nix whatever play Boston had drawn up, but Brute Squad handles that zone defense adequately, moves it through, and able to score and take the 12-6 lead. So Brute Squad firmly in control of this game. You know, one thing I've noticed, we talked some about the different packages that Riot's putting out there. And there's one package out there that is really struggling against Brute Squad. The Chyna Titcomb, Dominic Fontanet group is having a lot of trouble. The Angelica Boyden-led group, which we see out here right now, has been very effective against Brute Squad for the most part. I think they've scored all or almost all of their points, and I may have
spoke too soon. Hoffman with the D, and Titcomb puts it to Hoffman, and Mercer with a beautiful layout D. Fantastic work from her.
Yeah, Mercer still making hustle plays here late in the game, down by a bunch. She's saving my words from being right down my throat. I'm not eating my shoe quite yet.
Burstein with it. Johnson cuts up line. And the deep throw. Witty Garcia there for the D. Looks like it was a bailout. Now with Christy Kim. Christy Kim looking downfield. Bacher is there. One-handed snag marked by Boyden. Dump to Klain. Klain to Bacher. Bacher, forehand to Witty Garcia. Up the line to Titcomb, and Brute Squad 2 points away, increasing their lead to 7.
It is all Brute Squad out here right now. It seems like Riot just doesn't have an answer to Brute Squad's efficiency. And this is something, I mean, Riot is going to have to go back to the drawing board and look at this game tape. I think every contending team is going to have to look at the game tape on Boston and find some answers to their defenses, especially their junk looks. That clam defense is very difficult to deal with. Some of their man defenses as well as their offense. How do you contain both Tunnell and Seville in the backfield there while also doing an adequate job on Malinowski? They've got a lot of weapons.
They just seem like the most complete team here right now. You were talking about how Riot maybe a little hungover from their World Championship win. Of course, Surge is down, one of their top cutters, one of their best defenders, one of the best defenders in the entire women's game. But Brute Squad they just have a swagger about them. They're just ready.
Well, you know, talking to some of the players on Riot, they've only had 2 practices coming into this tournament, and the only thing they worked at in those practices is their handler movement. So, you know, they're probably not all on the same page. Boston looks like they're on the same page. They look like they've been practicing and building for the last month and ready to implement some things at this tournament and work on them and get better. Whereas I think a lot of these other teams are in this boat of it feels sort of like the beginning of the season, right? They've gone through the World Club Championships. They've taken a couple weeks off. And for Riot, they didn't even have the same personnel at the World Club Championships they have here. Shannon O'Malley was not at the World Club Championships. They're trying to reintegrate her after basically a month off of playing with them. They were playing with Emily Bacher, who's playing a pretty big role for them. So they've got to integrate not having her on the field for them. So I think you have to keep in mind that these teams are at different points. Brute Squad is definitely established themselves as the team to beat, but just because they've been dominant this weekend does not mean that they have a huge leg up going to this fall series.
So Brute Squad with a D-line out there. D-line of Negus, Hallweaver, Bacher, Tajima, Klain, Jacoby, and Murphy. O-line for Riot, Fontanet, Cardenas, O'Malley, Weatherford, Ambler, Bradshaw, and Kawhi. Ambler gets the pull, centers to Weatherford. O'Malley out with it now, marked by Klain. Weatherford cuts up line, now across. Looks like they're running somewhat of a dominator here to start. A low throw down. Low throw there from O'Malley. Kawhi tried to grab it. Looked like she might have dropped it after she caught it, but I believe it actually hit the ground before she caught it. Now Tajima with it. To Klain, now with Bacher. Bacher back to Klain. Pick called.
Looks like Murphy's going to be coming back into the offense. Cardenas calling the pick. Looks like it was back, maybe a throw. Looks like it's going to go back to Bacher possibly. Nope, going to stay here with Sheer Klain.
Marked by Fontanet. Weatherford hanging out in the lane, stopping the downfield now with Bacher. Weatherford on the mark. Now with Tajima. Tajima to Bacher up the line. Bacher rifles it to the end zone. That's Sarah Jacoby, her third goal of the game. And Brute Squad is flowing right now. They are just hitting on all cylinders.
I mean, Emily Bacher just puts this one on a rope. I mean, she throws this into Jacoby. Like, I'm not sure she could have put that any faster. Just rips that in there, gives no opportunity for Shannon O'Malley to make up the little distance she was away. And Jacoby just right into the chest.
We're going to get the Patagonia play of the game. It's Witty Garcia with the bookends. Earlier in the game, sorry about the technical difficulties. We will get it to you. Here it is. D there. Then the disc put up. Witty Garcia, skies Fontanet and Cardenas. Excellent work from her to really set the tone for Brute Squad early on in the game.
You know, Jackson, I'm not sure. I mean, that was a fantastic play, no doubt. Witty Garcia, the bookends. But how is it not the Leela Tunnell layout block?
You got to be a little biased, though. I mean, come on. You know Leela pretty well.
I mean, yes, I know Leela. She's fantastic. But that block was ridiculous.
It was pretty insane. I will give that to you. Maybe Patagonia play of the game number 2. Now Riot with it, moving it downfield. Mercer to Carr.
A little blown coverage there on Mercer. Breaks free for a lot of yards for Riot.
Johnson to Burstein and Tajima. Gosh, Brute Squad, just every single thing they're doing is working.
That was a very nice block for Tajima. I mean, Brute Squad still bringing the fire here. Up 8 points in the second half. Not letting anything through.
Titcomb looks downfield, looks dump. Now across.
And boy, he did.
My. That is just great. I think MVP of the tournament for Riot has got to be Boyden. Inside throw from Idy to Mercer.
Riot really likes to put the Charlies out on the field together. Charlie Idy and Charlie Mercer, and they often seem to connect.
Working on that point. Definitely going to get another look here at Boyden's fantastic layout D.
I mean, both of those blocks are amazing, but man, Boyden just blows past Shira Klain there for that block.
We're going to take a quick break here from the action and get you the conclusion of this game in the 2014 Women's Final. back here in the 2014 Women's Final. Brute Squad, a commanding lead here on Seattle. Tennell brings it to the center. Tennell marked by Stern. Malinowski streaking deep. Crayley there to help. Now Spitz in the middle. Poached back to Tennell. Tennell to Unfried. Across to Malinowski. Malinowski going to the end zone. And Laura Bitterman goes up and makes the catch. Brute Squad is your 2014 Emerald City Classic champions.
And Brute Squad goes wire to wire here. Finishes the game on a very clean offensive point. Really nicely set up. Isolation play with a side stack. Putting out Malinowski into space. Using Malinowski as a decoy. Taking her deep. Bitterman coming underneath. And then from there, Boston's Brute Squad flows until Malinowski gets the disc and hits Bitterman for the forehand and the game winner. Here's another look at it. Bitterman going deep. Bradshaw trying to make up the play, and Bitterman taking all of the hit and coming down with the title.
So Brute Squad almost assuredly earns the #1 seed headed in to the USA Ultimate Championships in Sarasota, Florida, the end of October, barring some crazy fiasco at sectionals and regionals. In San Francisco.
Also very likely the regular season champions here. They came into the weekend as the 2nd overall ranked team, and with this dominant performance, they almost surely will be the #1 ranked regular season team, earning $2,000 from USA Ultimate.
So Brute Squad, your 2014 Emerald City champions. I'd like to thank our sponsors real quick, Elemental Technologies and Patagonia. Great gear for the serious athlete. Stay tuned for the men's finals between Chicago's Machine and Boston's Ironside. See if Boston can make it a sweep of the ECC championships. Join us here at 5 o'clock for the finale.